Today we are going to work on lesson 1.12, which has to do with grouping symbols. We're still working with the order of operations. Our essential question is, in what order must operations be evaluated to find a solution when there are parentheses within parentheses? We are on page 73. First of all, before we begin, you're going to see these terms: brace, bracket, parentheses. Sometimes things have to be grouped together within other groups. We always start with our parentheses, which is in the furthest most inside. Let's say there are more than one set of parentheses that need used. They go what's inside what's called a bracket. And if you have brackets, more than one bracket that needs used, those go inside what's called a brace. So it gets larger each time. Parentheses within brackets, brackets within brace. Let's look at the unlock the problem on page 73. Mary's weekly allowance is $8 and David's weekly allowance is $5. Every week they spend $2 on lunch. Write a numerical expression to show how many weeks it'll take them together to save enough money to buy a video game for $45. In the little blue box it says underline Mary's weekly allowance and how much she spends. Well, we see her allowance is $8 and she spends $2. Circle David's weekly allowance and how much he spends. He receives $5 and he spends $2. Use parentheses and brackets to write an expression. You can use parentheses and brackets to group operations that go together. Operations in parentheses and brackets are performed first. Step 1. Write an expression to represent how much Mary and David save each week. Well, if we think about the fact that each week she gets $8, we read that she spends $2. So what operation am I going to apply? Subtract, right? And David, how much money does he receive each week? He receives $5 and he spends $2. Pretty easy so far, right? We're just figuring out what each of them make and what each of them spend. Now it says how much money, we're still on step 1, do Mary and David save together each week? All I'm going to do is take both of those expressions I just made and I'm going to put those together. It wants to know together. So what operation would I do? I would add. So here's what she gets and what she spends. And now we're going to do the same for David. Could I solve that? I sure could. Let's go on to step 2. It says write an expression to represent how many weeks it will take Mary and David to save enough money for the video game. How many weeks will it take? Well, it says think. I can use brackets to group operations a second time. So let's look here. We have a bracket. I'm going to write in those same numbers in those same parentheses that I just had. We have Mary made $8, spent $2. Sorry, I forgot my dollar sign. And we added, and David makes $5 and spends $2 each week. Notice I put that inside of my bracket because what's in the parentheses, both sets of parentheses, needs to be worked out first. Now I can solve. I have Mary, if I take my 8, subtract 2, I get 6. And David, if I take my 5 and subtract 2, I get 3, which is $9, right? Well, it tells us that video game costs $45. So I'm going to have to take that $45 and divide that by that 9 to get my answer. And if I do that, My answer is 5. It is going to take them 5 weeks. Don't forget to write in what it is, because if you don't put your unit, whether we're talking about days, weeks, inches, you may be talking about measuring in chocolate chip cookies for all I know. So, since the video game costs $45, and each week she has $6 left, he has $3 left, and they put it together, 45 divided by 9 is 5 weeks. We're going to move on to the next page, but if you need to stop and rewind, by all means, please do so. Let's look at the next page. It says for us to evaluate expressions with grouping symbols. When evaluating an expression with different grouping symbols, parentheses, brackets, and braces, perform the operation in the innermost set of grouping symbols first, evaluating the expression from the inside out. Example, Juan gets $6 for his weekly allowance and spends $4 of it. His sister Tina gets $7 for her weekly allowance and spends $3 of it. Their mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. If they spend the same amount each week, how much money can they save together in that time to buy her a present? It tells us to write an expression using parentheses and brackets. Right here, Juan, he gets his $6 and spends $4. Tina gets $7 and spends $3. If I figure that out, what is 6 minus 4? $2. And 7 minus 3 is how much? $4. I still have to do what's inside this bracket, right? What is 2 plus 4? $6. And how many weeks did it say that they had until their mother's birthday? 4. So 4 times 6 is 24. They will have they will be able to save $24 for their mother's birthday present. Remember, work inside out, parentheses first, just like we've been learning with our order of operations in class. All right, let's go on to example A. Rewind if needed, guys. Now this looks scary when you first look at it. But if we just simply start solving for the innermost parts first with the parentheses, it's not as bad, I promise. All right, we have 4 times, and these are braces, and we have brackets inside. We have 2 sets of brackets. If we do 5 minus 2, I get 3. Remember, I bring everything down. What is 2 plus 4? I get 6. Oops, sorry, I put the wrong thing. I shouldn't have gone there. I apologize. And then times 2. All right. When I bring this down, this next part, I just drop these numbers in. I can do now what's within the brackets, right? If I drop my 4 times down and my brace. 3 times 3 is 9, right? I drop my plus sign. What is 6 times 2? 12. Now I do what's left here within the brace because I've gotten rid of my parentheses, I've gotten rid of my brackets. Now I'm moving on. What is 12 plus 9? 21. And then I multiply 4 times 21. If I need to go over here to the side and multiply, I can. But I know if I do 4 times 1 and then 2 times 4, I realize it's 84. I worked for my parentheses first. And just remember, you have to drop everything down. Notice this 4 times I drop down with every single step, because if you don't, you will forget it. And as these problems get larger, you will forget steps. I drop my plus sign each time. Let's look at letter B, example B. Sorry this ended up kind of messy. I was running out of room. But you have it in your book there to follow along. You perform the operations in parentheses. So if I do 32 divided by, and I start with my parentheses, what do I end up with? I get 32. What's 3 times 2? 6. And then remember, I dropped my plus 7 down. I do my 6 subtract 4, and I get what? 2 plus my 7. I drop that. I drop my subtraction sign. I have gotten everything out of my parentheses, so now I need to move on to my brackets, which are these right here. What is 6 plus 7? 13. 2 plus 7? 9. I drop my subtraction, I drop my 32 divided by, and now I'm on to my braces. I've gotten rid of my parentheses and my brackets. Now I'm on to the braces. So if I do 13 subtract 9, I get 4. And what's 32 divided by 4? 8. I want you to try on the page 75. I want you to try the share and show for numbers 1, 2, and 3. And on tomorrow's video, I will work that out for you and show you how to do that. Remember to rewind as needed and to review how to do these. But try the share and show numbers 1, 2, and 3.